That's what I was wondering. That one still says go live. Well, hello.
Hi.
Here we are again. It's not Tuesday.
Yeah, it's live here. So
It appears to be working, so we're gonna go with it.
I usually go live that way, and
And then the other one picks up.
I think so. But...
Yeah, we're doing things a little different today because we can.
Oh, it's really weird to
It just looks very different there. So
yeah. So
yeah.
I hope everyone can see us.
It looks fine.
Right.
If y'all don't see things or things look weird, let us know.
Yeah, leave a comment and say.
Please comment.
It's messed up.
So it looks like we do have some live viewers, so that's a good thing there. That's this one's just not picking up for whatever.
Right. It's a surprise.
It's never dull.
No. It's so weird. All right.
It's just a little unsettling. You would think we would have this all figured out by now.
Hi. Yeah.
So hello out there to anyone who happens to be watching. Today we are going to do March's dealer exclusive. And we have that all prepped. So this is an adorable spring pendant using the canvas tote. And oh, look at that.
Okay, well,
that's bonus.
Yay.
Okay, so that works. That's comforting to know that popped up.
Okay.
So we have our canvas tote prepped, and we have our hello to South Dakota coming in loud and clear. Thank you. We appreciate those. Yeah, different setup. My iPad instead of her iPad, so she doesn't have the mouse. And there's just, whole long story of whys, which I'm sure none of you care about.
We were going live.
But it didn't look the same as it normally does. And so we're like, is it working?
Right. Good to know.
Okay, so thank you all for chiming in and letting us know we're not talking to ourselves, because there's such a weird thing when you are.
Right.
So
this is a pretty long stitch out. So
it is.
I think we're
going to jump right in.
And then we can chat
we'll chat while it's stitching instead of doing the yammering that we sometimes get to. So this is a pretty easy setup, very simple. We've done this type of thing before. So in the instructions that came with this design, I had it.
Yep. See what happens when I come to help?
We got 2 crosshairs now, I think.
Yep.
Okay. So sorry, pardon. So first things first, we're going to stitch the crosshair, which is included in the design files for this month, which you probably have a few of those already, which they're all pretty much the same.
Yep.
And it's going to stitch in the center, and then we're going to add, in our case, we have actually hit the button add to put in both designs so we don't have to go back and forth and reload later. So we're just going to jump right in. In our hoop, this is everything to do the 8 by 12 design if you purchased our kit, and that's the one that we have loaded. I am working in a 9.5 by 9.5 hoop. Because that's the one I could reach on the wall for no reason other than that.
The design is like 9 by 8.
So the 7 by 12 won't work. You would definitely need the 8 by 12 width wise. In an 8 by 8 won't work because you would need that extra in height. So either 8 by 12, 9.5 by 9.5, or larger is for the 8 by 12 design file. There is a smaller one, so you certainly can stitch this if you don't have the larger hoop sizes, no stress. But what you're going to see us do is the larger one.
And if you got our kit, you will have enough.
You have enough to do that bigger one, and of course the tote bag is in there as well. So I have a sticky in the hoop, and it is a sticky water soluble You could certainly use, here we go again with these darn fake nails. You could certainly use a tearaway, I think, here, because it's going to be inside, so outside of the sun showing.
Yeah.
Do you have my trash can?
No, Karen.
Oh,
must
I
have
think it's on the other side.
put it in a really safe space.
It's on the other side of the camera. I vaguely remember seeing it over on the other side of this cabinet. I'll wheel over there and grab it in a second. So first things first, we need to remove the paper, reveal the sticky. Whether you are using a wash away or a tear away, that does not matter. This step is the same. God, that stuff is sticky.
You can tell us if it sounds better. Okay, if you do, yeah. Hopefully it'll be better.
All right, so sticky stabilizer in, and we currently just have what I was doing last. Oh,
this is that one.
Smart. One of these days I'll remember which one I don't want to use. We just have a darker thread in here. You guys will be able to see it. Does not matter what color you're stitching this in, as long as you can see where to put what you're doing.
I'm gonna throw that under there, and I can put my thread tails under there. There we go.
I still might dump things on the floor over there just out of habit, but sure, we can do this.
All right, so we
Okay.
have our crosshair, and are you going to take it over there and do it so they can see?
I was just going to talk about the prep for it. Either
Sure.
way, it doesn't really matter. I'm just thinking less
Getting off of this. Yeah.
So the prep for your tote, it's going to be pretty straightforward. You are going to take the long guy, and you're going to put that pretty sides together. You're going to know which side is pretty based on the handle ends. They don't look a whole lot different, but they are. So right sides together in the hot dog. And then you are going to, what did I tell you?
6.5 inches.
Oh, thank goodness. Because, there's different sizes.
Yes.
So in your instructions, depending upon which you are deciding file size to use, you're going to go down either 4.5 or 6.5 inches, depending upon which file you're choosing. So please make sure you're choosing the right one. Otherwise, you might get a surprise in a little bit. So we have ours folded from here, and that's a 6.5 inch, and it's from the top of the bag, not the bottom of the fold here. So it's from literally the top there. And we are going to use that fold and open ours right on. So you're going to place that on the line and then open. Still on the line, hopefully. Kind of smooth everything out. And then one more time, we're going to open, and that will center the correct positioning. Again, it does matter whether you're at that 4.5 or 6.5, because with the larger design, you're going to come down farther. So you don't want to stitch off the top of your bag. So make sure you're coming down far enough.
Correct.
So we are right there. And our first color is going to be some leaves that are around the sides. So we have a little bit of just base embroidery to do first. So I just have literally like a leaf green color in here, Christmassy green, not a pine.
I'm like, put that over here, and then I go and set
and
it.
then you were we
right?
both have our habits, don't we? So this is just going to do some greenery around the edges and then around the bottom here. So this is actually 8 minutes worth of greenery.
Yes.
So it's going to be a few minutes. Again, this is not a short stitch out all by itself. So we will try to keep the minimal talking to while it's
stitching. Yes.
So
it's a 43-minute stitch out. So the smaller one obviously is going to be
a little bit less
because it'll have a little less stitches. This is one of those Kimberbell blinks. And you can do a lot of fun things with these links.
You can. This is what we made that bunny basket out of last year around the same time.
Yeah.
And that turned out so cute. This is a little bit different size than the other tote blanks. So they are not 100% interchangeable from one another. And it looks like the black one has been, the black buffalo check isn't available. So whether
it's
being replaced by something else, you know, there still is the gray, but when I went to order, those are not, it says retired on that.
I wonder if they had a hard time finding another
vendor, or they're on a boat, or maybe they were on with the cars and
the Ferraris. I definitely think the Kimberbell stuff is probably with the Ferraris. That seems perfectly logical.
It's high-end stuff, right?
It is.
I'm dropping stuff on the floor.
I know. Dave, he listens to the news and all that stuff all the time, and this morning he was saying that he had heard that there were some more factories that are being shut down overseas again. So he's like, yeah, just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't get better.
It
gets
isn't.
worse.
It has to get back. It has to get worse before it gets better, right?
Yep. The first couple pages of our instructions are over there. I hope there wasn't anything I needed.
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
Because it didn't even tell me how far to go down, so that was really just bold. It had the thread, like a snippet at the bottom for threads.
Thread colors. Well, we've got a nice smattering here, so we should
It's
be.
very springy.
We should. We'll see. I think this one goes with our tulips, and then this one goes for the sign. Was my thought.
I think so. I think that'll be good.
Again, I guess we'll see. You know, it's hard sometimes when you're like, well, that matches the fabric, but then when you put them with everything else, you're like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. But so far, these look pretty. But I'm guessing I'm going to have to cut this in half because I'm not going to be able to stretch that.
You don't think so?
Nope, that's definitely not. And that's what I'm looking at this going. How's that going to go? And I'm looking at this square going, that's not going to go either. So that's where I was, well, I'll look and see what it tells you to cut. And then I went, I don't have that. But
I think they were both 2.5-inch squares.
you know what?
I think she deserted us.
Hey, Carolyn, you want to do me a favor? Are you in the middle of anything? I missed that. I'm supposed to have fusible backing on that, and I think I need those. Can you check on the front page there to see what size for the 8x12?
I think they're 2.5-inch.
Probably somewhere in that realm.
So if you're prepping your kits, you'll want to put
Fusible backing on your yellow
the
fabrics.
woven fusible Kimberbell, SF101, or my favorite, Easy T.
No. If you want to just fuse the whole thing, then I'll figure it out once I get a placement line. There should be some scraps in there. Okay, thank you. So Carolyn is doing me that favor because I missed that step. It was all of a sudden 2 o'clock and it was like, but we made it here on time. But I missed that part when I was skimming through.
Pretty impressive that you were able to produce your iPad, because I was like, well, this will be interesting.
Like, I have that. I almost didn't bring it today, and I was like, nah.
Well, and I must have had like some sort of inkling, because I walked by it. I was like, do I need my iPad today? And I'm like, no, that's Friday. And I'm like, do I?
That's fine if you want to just split it, because I think I'm going to go down the middle of it anyway. Or diagonal. You think diagonal would be better?
I am positive that is a 5-inch square, right?
Yeah.
If we just need 2.5 inch squares.
Yeah, just use one section of that. We should be good. I downloaded all those cutting things, but you think I read it? Single one of them.
This is that thing that I'm always like, I really wish it was alphabetical. Daisy's 2.5,
Yep.
and then the lavender is 2 by 2. So I knew I read it. There we go.
Thank you. Please, you can keep it.
Very cute leaves. What's next?
Starting on the tulips. So
the
you got
tulips.
the underside of the tulips, which I was going darker, but we can go whichever way. Or I was going to do the light here because it's going to be on top of that.
Okay.
But we can vice versa.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
That's pretty.
Yeah, let's do the dark first.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I played with my glue gun last night. I made flowers of a different sort last night. So I got the felt flowers for spring showers put together last night while watching a movie on my iPad.
I painted my nails.
They're
Wow.
very cute.
Watching The Walking Dead. No, Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead. I haven't done that one yet.
I had big plans when I got here this morning. I was like, I'm going to get my border pieces prepped for my spring showers. I knew I had to get some stuff for a customer ready. And then the customers, we left the door unlocked and we started a little bit earlier and my whole day went kaput after that. I didn't even get it started.
From 10 minutes to 10, they started coming in the door, and it's been a day since.
It was like I totally got completely off my track and didn't get right back on.
Yep, sold the machine before we opened up.
We did.
It was quick.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
We are almost done.
We are almost there. And then we are going to start on the tulips, which are going to be at the bottom of those upper greenery. And those are going to be a couple different parts.
Almost.
So we've got like the underside of the tulip, and then we have the inner parts of the tulip, and then we have applique of the tulip, and then top stitching of the tulip. So lots of little steps.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, hopefully we're gonna try that ripping thingy on
It should work good.
it should. We'll have to see what the stitch looks like. So
now I'm gonna put dark purple down because we decided that we wanted.
we're gonna accent that top stitching instead of have the top stitching blend.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do dark first and light second. You'll see what we mean here in just a second. So we're just changing threads still. And this is going to be the back side. Well, they call it the inner, which the inner tulip fill. It's a pretty quick stitch. That one.
So this one, or is this one first?
This one,
Oh, that's the little balls on the
those
top.
little guys.
Okay.
And then we'll do applique, and then so we can put the purple in and
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and do some applique.
That's pretty cool.
And that matches the glitter. So that one is a dime thread. We can give you the number if you would like when we pull it back off, because can't see it from here. So
True.
we
I'm
can,
not that tall.
I'm not either, and I'm just not feeling it to get up and flash my chest in front of the camera to go see what it looks like. But it's very pretty.
It is. Looks nice on campus color too.
Yeah, and it's very pretty with the. Good with that. Everybody needs sparkle. And it's funny because everything about this watch band is perfectly fine. It fits nicely. It stays put. It just doesn't sparkle.
It doesn't sparkle.
And I need sparkle.
I know, right? I like it. But it's not it's not
blingy enough.
No, it's not as fancy as I wanted it to be. My other one was much more blingy.
You had a lot of bling on the last one. I had a lot of bling on the one I had right before that.
Mm-hmm.
I will grab this guy. So this was the So
that's a special number.
This is a super special number that's been let's see, looks like 3ES348 is that beautiful purple that we just used. And that matches that glitter really, really well if you're using our kit. These are the tulip stamens. Is that how you pronounce that? The little doodads that come out in the middle of a tulip.
Sounds good.
I'm not I used to grow tulips in my front flower bed, and they were beautiful.
They just don't last very long.
What always ended up in my flower bed is they fell.
Mm-hmm.
So I had just a small, and it was very, very slight incline.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always get them all as the years went. They all were at one end, so I'd always have to plant new ones on the other side. But they were always very pretty, and they came up so nice. And snippy. Get that tail out of there. Did those work really nice?
They did.
It's the little things in life.
Right.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and put in the light purple now. And we're going to do the applique steps. So placement line for where to put our applique glitter. And then, of course, tack down and then decorative stitches on top.
One tulip.
Two tulips. All right, so we've got our piece of purple. I cut that in half, and I am just going to completely cover that up. I'm sure y'all are shocked. Your instructions are going to tell you to tape that down. I'm not gonna.
Shocker.
I know. All right, so it is doing a double stitch coming around there. So just going to double check, make sure I'm good over here. Got a new Mickey Mouse Band-Aid. My other one was falling apart.
Yeah, they
Had
don't
to
last
replace-
very
no,
long, do
they
they?
don't.
The cute ones don't stay on quite as long.
Well, no, and you got to wash what's underneath of them. So it's, you know, I mean, it really is good etiquette, but. Okay. You want to rip?
Sure.
So this had, if you noticed, 2 stitches going around each of those. You think you're okay to
I think
pull
so.
from there?
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to just pull towards the stitches instead of having to trim. So when you have that beautiful double stitch there, it does a nice job of perforating that glitter for you. So instead of me having to fuss over those little tiny divots in the top of that, I don't have to do that, though. I do have a little thread there. We're gonna get that little wispy.
So the one thing that you might want to do when you do tear, because there's not a lot of it sitting underneath the stitches, is if this is something that you think that you should iron down, you're going to want
Pressing
to
is a good.
fuse it now.
Yep.
Do you
So-
think we might want to? It's a little poofy.
It's a little poofy. I will be right back, just to make sure, because we want it to look beautiful.
Yes. So
So
you would definitely want to make sure that you're pressing this before you do this final stitch, because that will be an
just
issue.
as a reminder, you never want to put your iron directly on the glitter. So this is just the plastic that I removed. I'm going to take that with me and slide that right on top so that my iron does not hit it directly. Can you hear me way over here?
I can. Oh, there was an earthquake in Japan.
Oh my.
7.3. I'm sorry if anybody's in Japan. That's tragic. So you don't need to do a ton of pressing on that, but you do want to give it a little bit of a press. When the machine is doing those the candle wicking style stitches, what will happen is it will sort of push in the middle and you'll get a little bubble. And if you try to fuse that later, what you'll happen, you'll receive like a little, almost like a wrinkle in there, because it's kind of pushed it out in the center. So giving it a little bit of a press right now just makes sure that that doesn't happen.
So, and I've kind of made a habit of keeping my plastic top. I do make the creative choice to sometimes not press if I want there to be a poof. A very perfect example is when you're doing snow. So if you have a white glitter and you want it to be snow, it actually looks fantastic with that poof in there. Just a hair further. There we go. Come in. Yep. All right. So this is going to be the decorative stitching on top of the tulip. And I didn't do a third. I just did this. I was going to do the same.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Almost threw on the floor. Almost. It's party.
It is. I think purple is nice.
I know.
There's not enough purple things.
I like purple. I didn't have to ditch any pink thing in this one.
No.
I almost made that pinker just to make you happy,
I like red.
but it's not a like dark red. It's got a little bit of pink tint to it.
It's like kind of like a candy apple.
It's kind of, yeah.
You want me to put those in the drawer? Are they okay for that?
Oh, so far good. Yeah, I have plenty of room. So I generally would have waited, made sure those were nice and cool before stitching. Might have rushed that a little bit since we're live, but at home, I would make sure that that's nice and cool. Otherwise, the adhesive hasn't really set quite firmly enough. So you want to make sure that it's cool before, otherwise the pressing doesn't do a whole lot of good for you. But it worked.
And we've got just a little bit of detail. We are staying with this same light purple.
Oh, those berries. I missed that one.
Oh, that's okay. These will be pretty.
Yeah, do you want to do red? You can pull the red in.
I can do that.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter to me. We can stop it.
Doesn't matter. You want to leave? We can. Let's just leave it.
Purple. Let's do.
Keep it easy. One less thing, right? All right. So. Nope. It's not threaded anymore.
It's not.
between just those stitches there. It's not there. So we heard that little click, and the thread came out of the needle, even though the machine thought it was still there, but it wasn't creating stitches. So we're just going to go back over that little spot there.
Still not creating.
Pull up the bobbin thread.
Maybe. I know.
I can do that.
You enjoy doing this, okay? Because it's quite the stretch for me.
Taking it out's not so bad. It's the input that it just doesn't quite. Huh. Very weird. It didn't look like it was a problem.
No, I wonder when the last time we changed this needle was.
I just put a new one in
Did you?
yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, it shouldn't be too dull just from the little bit of quilting we did.
No, but it could be a bad needle. I mean, there is such a thing as a bad needle without having anything to do with.
You're right. It also could be that, there is a love
That's not
hate
it. There we go.
relationship with
That
me and
thread.
this thread.
It's your fault.
I think so. I don't think this happens with anyone else.
There we go. Just got to make it through a couple more.
There we go.
All right. Once we have that, that is the most interesting looking placement line.
I would totally agree.
I wonder if that's what it actually looks like. Huh. Well, yellow's next. So we're gonna, once we get these little berry stitch, then we're going to move on to the daisies. At least we're not kicking them up yet.
True. You got any fun plans for your day off?
Getting my nails done. I'm trying to follow the rules. I figure I can't screw up on month one.
Looks normal on here.
Month one fill. That is not at all what the
Yeah,
drawing
it just
looks
didn't
like.
print out nice.
So we are threading for the daisy placement line. So we're going ahead and putting in yellow for the next few.
And you should have that fusible woven on the back
On the back
side.
of your yellow fabric. Do you have the tape that was there?
Mm-hmm. I hit the go button before I hit the
That one?
needle button. Yes.
You do like to do that.
I do that all the time because my brain.
It's in a different spot.
It is.
Yes, I get it. It's okay.
There are so many things that my brain overwrites. That one it will not. I do not know why.
So that is weird. So in your instructions, that stitch does not look like that.
No, it does not.
But it does stitch it out right, so it's all good.
They are cute, cute, cute daisies.
There's no quick tear on this one, though. I'm actually gonna have to trim.
You're gonna have to trim. I'm so sorry.
Maybe we can go quick grab some some glitter and put some gold glitter in there.
we could do
I think that would totally be a great idea. I'm just kidding. All right. So once again, this is the yellow from our kit. And we have the fusible on the back. That's going to support those extra stitches there. So I'm just going to completely cover up those lines. And of course, you can tape that in place if you wanna. I don't wanna.
Mm-mm.
I never wanna.
Mm-mm. Only if we have to.
I think there's probably at least one person that might have had heart palpitations yesterday with all the tape I put in that hoop. It's so hard for me. I just can't do it. At least those aren't super tight.
Sure.
I can get my skizzers in there okay.
We have done
Way
harder.
harder
Yes.
trims. Go up, you're gonna go down. You're gonna go down. Which way you gonna go? So plenty of fabric there. You actually have enough to do 4 daisies in that square. I just cut it in half to keep it simple. But you certainly have, I will try to trim as fast as possible. But you know what hurrying does?
Puts you further behind.
Sometimes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
And it's going to do the decorative stitching around the daisies. So we're just going to leave that same yellow in.
So anytime that you have fusible on there, your trimming is a little,
This is a little thicker.
it's a little thicker. So
It's kind of interesting. Like, I'm not really sure why. I don't know that. I don't think I would have put backing on the yellow. If it was a solid, maybe. Would you have put backing on this one? I don't think you're going
I
to
guess
see through.
it's not see-through. I'm wondering if that orange fill that's going to go over top of it is that heavy in stitches that they felt it needed help. But that would be the only reason. So I guess probably not, but outside of it taking just a hair longer to trim, there's certainly no harm in doing it. Glad I have better scissors today. If I only had one sweet spot, this would have not been fun.
Four years ago, we were doing a Kimberbell workshop today.
Were we really?
We were. See, my Facebook says so.
Your Facebook says so. Looks like fun. Does sometimes feel like it's Kimberbell all the time around here. But that's because there's always something fun with Kimberbell going on.
Yes, there is.
Always, always.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Follow instructions to the floor. As long as I don't knock the camera to the floor, we're doing all right.
We are.
That's been close. I've actually done it once. Live.
Yeah. I saw some stuff on Facebook this morning that there's a fake Kimberbell Facebook group or Facebook person out there that's trying to be malicious. So
Really?
yes.
Like as in doing what?
Well, they're like messaging customers and it's not
As
them.
in
As in like
acting like they're from Kimberbell?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I think that's a good opportunity for us to just say this. So we do have a website, but we will never ask you on Facebook message or on an email to give us your credit card information.
Absolutely not.
So if someone were representing us, we would be happy. We do send invoices, and you can click and check out that way. And we can take payments over the telephone for you if you are not comfortable doing it that way. But you would be speaking with one of us. So
Yes, we will never ask you to type that in an email and send it to us.
No.
Neither do we
Please
recommend
don't.
that you do that.
Yes.
To anyone, us or someone else. Don't send your
Yeah.
credit card information that way. That is an extremely easy way to get hacked.
Yeah, people will say that they are lots of different people all the time. So just as a word of caution, be extra
Don't do that.
diligent. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
feels like there's
There-
a lot of that
There's a
going
lot
on.
of scamming going on right now. I think
Yeah,
there's just people are feeling a crunch or something. I'm not sure exactly what, but there's been, we're getting a lot of scam phone calls, people trying to scam us. So it only stands to reason that they're going the other direction too. So
Yes.
just be really careful.
yeah. Be really careful. Don't open things from people that you don't know. And if it starts with something like "I need a favor," definitely don't do that.
Yeah, you know, I'm
We've actually been getting
overseas,
those.
or we get those too.
And they come from like people that
It looks
we
like
know.
it would be legitimate,
Yeah.
but it's somebody that spoofed that email or that name, and you know they're using a name that you would recognize, so you
Absolutely.
it causes you a minute of pause. So
Yeah, just be very cautious.
oh, this is super springy and cheerful. It makes me wish it was as nice outside as it said it was going to be.
It's pretty nice though.
It's better
It's
now.
64
Yeah.
out. So my watch says.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is not what my
Yeah, that's where we're at.
my computer said it was still in the 50s,
Mm.
but it might not know where we are either. Yeah, I mean, it might not have switched locations. So that is a simple candle wicking stitch going all the way around daisy number 1. Now we're going to switch over to daisy number 2.
That's
Kind
our
of like
second
tulip
daisy.
number 2.
Yep.
And same thing, it's going to do that decorative around the edges there. So it's not a satin stitch, it's that candle wicking type stitch there. And you're hearing a little bit more because of that extra fabric that's in there. So it's doing extra work.
Every time I say Daisy, Dave was a huge Dukes of Hazzard fan. So
Daisy Dukes.
Duke, that's all I can think of.
I was a huge Dukes of Hazzard fan. I can't talk today either. That was just.
He had like he would have the Matchbox cars. He would play with the Matchbox cars while he was watching the TV show.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's so
But
cute.
I can specifically remember thinking how cute Bo and Luke Duke were.
I know, right?
I mean, that is very, very clear. Generally, and jumping through the window, and you know the whole.
Can you imagine if we had to jump through a window to get into our car?
No, I wouldn't even want to climb, let alone jump.
Can my leg go up that high? It would be pretty funny.
It would be very entertaining to watch. There is no question about that. Huh. That's a little.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why I'm actually putting the thread back in, but
Let's just nip that in the bud.
yeah.
My luck, there'd be some hidden knot somewhere in there. And
That would be
all right, so we are switching to the decorative fill on the inside of those adorable little daisies there. So we are switching to an orange.
Hi, Misty. You didn't miss anything too riveting.
No, just the placements and changing some thread. So I did skip over the next one. It looks like is a little same color as this one though.
I think we can just
So,
leave it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just switch to
This one.
that one after this, and we'll call it. Maybe I looked at that and I'm like, oh, those are the same color, and so that's good enough for me. Of course, I'm not sure how that will look with orange, but that I can match. It'll be okay. And that's me. It's too late now.
It's good reasoning.
It's just so springy. I love the pretty colors. I think spring, for me, beats autumn. I just love the bright flowers and more than the fall leaves.
Yeah.
I do like taking a drive in the fall though. You see more
Yeah.
in the fall than you do in the spring. You know, people's flowers and whatnot are usually closer to their house or their backyard or something like that. So it's not like you can drive and see all of that. The trees don't look super exciting, but it's my favorite, I think. On top of the filing cabinet there's also one in the next pile over if that one's too hard to reach.
We did.
And then the rotary kit.
Can you, since we're talking, can you make sure you add a upgrade to the
I can.
list?
Yes. Let me just write that in my
But now that I've said it
mental
out loud,
note. You guys can all remind me, right? Thanks, Carolyn. And we're only halfway, 20 minutes into it.
yeah.
It's just embroidery.
He's not a very big part of it.
He's not a very important part of it anyway.
It would have been better if it had been a butterfly.
Personally, I would prefer that. We can skip that. All right, so we have a nice orange center to our beautiful daisies there. So now we just have the dot in the center of that. And then we have lettering up top, which is going to be in the same color. So we're gonna rock and roll here. And then with that same color, we're gonna go ahead and do the next color stop too. I looked over and I saw that 11 and I went, holy crap, 11 minutes.
Right? Oh, that looks good in there.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
Sometimes you just never know, do you?
No, because even if you spread it out, it doesn't always, you just never know.
No.
So at this point, we have the words is in the air that are going to stitch right in the center there. So we're going to go ahead again with that same color. This is a red. And I think we're doing, it's not like a Christmas red. It's a little more candy apple, as we were saying earlier.
It's got kind of a pink hue to it.
It's got just a little bit of a pink hue to it, but it's still definitely a red. Because you guys know I wouldn't have picked pink, right? Wouldn't have happened. That would be pink. Somebody else would have picked pink. That was not me. I was excited to see the purple. I was like, yay, I like purple. Yeah, that's really pretty. That blends nicely. kind of a coral-esque. Got a little bit of orange to it, a little bit of pink to it.
This morning on the car ride in, I was scrolling through Facebook, and there's like Reddit, you know,
Yep.
they're okay. So today's Reddit thing was about like funny things that customers have said to you, and so I was reading them out loud to Dave, and they were kind of funny. One of them was like somebody was asking what kind of meat was in the chicken wings, and the lady was like, you know, chicken. And then the person who was asking what the difference between the 14-inch pizza and the 16-inch pizza. So I was
2
like,
inches.
yes, yep, 2 inches, you know, and it was pretty funny. And then my favorite one was, there was like at a grocery store, and it was right around Thanksgiving, and the person asked if the turkeys are going to get any bigger, and the guy said, no ma'am, they're dead. Because they were in the frozen turkey section.
Yeah, they grow
They grow
in the freezer.
And then there were like some funny ones with like things that
Depends on
people
what
do.
you stuff it with,
What
right?
you stuff it with, yeah. Somebody was talking about how somebody like used a hole punch because they didn't want a chip on their credit card, and then they were mad that the credit card didn't work anymore. So I was like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, we've come across some interesting things.
Yes.
But I will say there was some. I never wrote them down, but there were some doozies when I worked at McDonald's.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, 20 years worth of McDonald's. So
The duffel
the
bag.
duffels in there, the keychains we've got on order, but that just came out, and unfortunately, we didn't have that information until it came out. So I'll have to owe her that.
They should be on that middle shelf in there. You should see them.
I do like their font choices. They always do a nice job. One of the things that I thought was interesting when I was looking at the instructions for the Spark event that we've got coming up, on the leather, there has been some issues with stitching on leather and lettering. And of course, that one project is pretty much all lettering on leather. And so they've included a topper, which definitely, there's nothing like that uber skinny. It's going to lose it in there anyways. But just like everybody else, we all learn from mistakes. And they obviously have learned some things too. Yeah, sorry. Is there a rush today? Okay, let's say it. I can finish if you need to have an appointment or something if you didn't. Okay.
At least it's nice out.
Roll the window down, get some fresh air, get the smell of mice out of your car.
We never really had, since we moved into the new house, our old house, we had squirrels everywhere. There aren't very many squirrels at this new house.
Really?
But we have mostly pine trees. So we don't have a lot of like nut trees or apple trees. So Dave's not fighting with the squirrel over the apples. But we've got
I'm sorry, the mental picture.
Right?
So I'm seeing Dave out there.
Right? So he planted a couple of apple trees at the old house because he wanted to have apples, right? It took a few years for them to start, right? Yeah. And one year he was like so excited because the apples were finally big enough, and he went out there, and I'm not kidding you, every single apple had at least one
a bite
on it.
out of it.
Yes. And he was just so mad. And it was just so funny. So we have a family of littler squirrels. They're brown squirrels, so they're not quite as, I guess they're black squirrels.
Black
dark
squirrels,
brown, not the light brown, so they're a little bit smaller. But there appears to be like a family of them living in the yard. And for whatever reason, one of them keeps jumping up on like the hitch of David's truck And that's what he every day he's like, I know that thing is just gonna build a home in there.
Well, we still haven't caught the one that I saw in my engine.
Yeah.
Still haven't caught that one, but we have. I think we're at 14
Oh my goodness.
that we've killed in the garage. That
Jeez
we've
Louise,
trapped. We've
yes.
caught 14. And
Not
we live,
squirrels.
not squirrels. Sorry, mice. That we have caught. We live in the country, and I mean,
It happens.
they don't need, if you don't know this, so sorry to burst your bubbles, they don't need any space to get in. So there's no, I mean, there I have one little bump on my seal on my side of the garage door, and it's not the only place. So I mean, there's no, we knew we had them,
Right.
but I'd never had them. We've always had them like out by the pole barn and in the truck. And the, you know, the cars we park outside, not the one I parked in the garage.
Yep. So, am I using that other teal as?
No, that was the,
Is this the one?
blue.
Okay.
So now we are going to do the felt. So we've got this large piece of felt that we're going to place. And I am going to, I chose a blue versus a darker teal so that it would give us a nice pop of color instead of just blending in. We wanted to be able to see the letters really nice. So I don't recommend that you blend too much. Otherwise, I think you might be disappointed with all of this beautiful and then a not so wonderful color over there. So this is a beautiful, beautiful color of felt. I love this. So we have a medium blue color here, if you can't tell that from that stitch there. So it's going to be a little bit different than, we're not trying to match the felt. And I definitely think we should skip them off. Is that the last colors, isn't it? All right, so that is the placement line. We're going to completely cover that up. And we are going to tack that guy down. Should have attempted to press that a little bit, but oh well. In there. Let it get tacked down on that side, and then I'll tug a little bit.
So we have been talking about some of the unique thread colors. The one that we are currently using, as soon as it's done stitching, we'll let you know. We just finished up with color number
266, and that is an exquisite. Probably can get that pressed up.
Yeah.
So that was that nice, a little bit brighter red instead of deeper red. I think that it's a nice springy red instead of that deep color that you see at Christmas time.
Yep. And the yellow we used was also an exquisite.
Yep. 641. Can't see that very well. Sorry.
641. And then the orange
The
was
orange
also...
was 649.
Here we go.
So.
And we are going to keep the same color in for spring.
Yep. I just need to trim.
Do we
Let's just.
rim first?
They do actually have you trim, but we don't need to.
Okay.
Really. So let's just keep going, rather than wait for me. How we doing? Everything good?
Bingo.
What are we bingoing?
I don't know. But this is color number 4419, and it's also by Dime, so exquisite.
Now I know darn well that you don't generally choose Floriani colors.
I don't.
I choose the color more than the brand. And I have both Floriani and Dime. I have some brother because I've gotten kids along the way with Disney and things like that. But for the bulk of it, I started off with Floriani because when I first started buying thread from Leabu, that was really all we had outside of the little spools of Mettler. So, you know, that I have a lot of that, and it's been kept in drawers and away from the sun. So, you know, and it's not like it's going bad.
No.
I want to use it. There's a little bit of money in those drawers, right? So, but I definitely find that I am grabbing the dime colors more.
It's kind of interesting.
There are a few of the Florianis that I absolutely love.
Like your favorite
and
colors.
those are my favorites. And as soon as I run out of that color, I replace that color and whatnot. But especially with Kimberbell, we're reusing a lot of the times the same things because they
match.
Specific fabric colors and specific felt colors and things that we are trying to coordinate with. We do gear towards those. There's 10 to 20 colors that we pretty much rotate through.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And so it's nice when you find something else that coordinates really nicely that isn't necessarily one of those standards. But these are not all the dime exquisite thread. We've got some Florianis mixed in.
Yeah.
But the bulk of them are exquisite. But the light purple that we use down on these guys here is a Floriani. That's number 672D if you're trying to coordinate there. And we do have some colors picked out for the moth, but we're going to actually skip stitching the moth live anyways so that we can talk about finishing so you all aren't here any longer than is absolutely necessary. Because we understand, you're giving up part of your day to spend that with us. So we appreciate that. We're going to get you moving on as fast as we can too. So, once
we can talk about. How about if I flip to that one so you can talk about it with the pages? Would that be easier?
Sure.
So I'm sure they can. It's stitching, so they can hear that.
So this is where we are right now, and like I said, we really should be trimming, whether we trim before or after we are stitching the spring letters really does not matter.
No.
That is going to be a raw edge trim, so you want to make sure that whatever you're doing on that felt, it's consistent, and try to get it right the first time. When you go back, the felt is a little bit more forgiving because it fuzzes up, so you don't see the sharp scissor marks
Not quite like leather.
like the leathers, but it's still going to be better the first time around. So if you want everything to have an 1/8 of an inch border or 1/4 inch or whatever, make that decision when you start.
Yes.
And then try to keep that balanced all the way around. So go ahead and trim around as desired there. And you're already stitching here. So what these next color stops are going to be, and there's actually quite a few. So we have the body of the moth, the inner wings, the outer wings, head and antenna, and then there's dots and wing details. Those are all different color stops, which are going to take us an additional at least 8 minutes by the time we have thread changes and stitch outs and whatnot. So we're talking at least another 8 to 10 minutes to stitch that moth. So we're going to just ignore that for now and talk about how to keep moving everything forward for you guys so that you can get that finished. And then you have some little stars that are going to be in that center. I don't have the front cover, I forgot. There we go. So there's some decorative pieces that are going to be just these stars right here. So those are 2 colors. The cream, so whatever you did in the moth wings, and then a green. I would choose the same green and accent what you did in the moth wings, unless you totally didn't do moth wings in that color or whatnot. Sarah and I were just saying a butterfly would look really nice in there, so you could always sub in a different or different design or something different in there if you wanted to, or even you could completely skip it, put a little scroll of some sort in there. There's
put a little 3D flower from your spring showers.
All kinds of things that you could put in there if you wanted to. So those stars would be next. Once that is done, all of the embroidery has been finished, and you're going to just go ahead and remove that from your hoop, and trim off the excess, and then gently rinse your project so that you're removing all of that stabilizer. If you use a tearaway, of course, you can just tear it away, and then you're going to be ready to move forward. From there, we have, I missed a page. It is going to be dependent upon which size design you stitched, how you're going to finish that. So the cutting and everything is also going to be determined by what design you stitched. So your finished flag or pennant, excuse me, will be smaller if you stitch the smaller design. So you won't have this tiny little embroidery in a oddly shaped, then like, wow, that doesn't look quite right.
Look, we have somebody from the UK again.
Hello. Welcome, welcome. So either way, the steps are the same. It's just the measurements that are going to be different. So I'm
double
going
check
to
your measurements.
make sure that you are choosing either part 3A or part 3B, depending upon which file you have stitched.
Right.
I'm going to walk us through part 3B because we stitched the larger file so that you can see where that's at. Again, if you're choosing the smaller, the measurements would just be for a smaller flat. So you would be cutting in farther and stitching in farther. So once we have the design done and all of the stabilizer removed, we are going to once again fold that with right sides together long way. So we're going to do a hot dog fold, and we're going to have this long.
Yep. Hot dog is long and skinny.
Long and skinny, not a hamburger.
Yep.
We're going to hamburger it in a minute. We're going to hamburger it in a minute. Yep. So we're going to take that and match up the handle up at the top. And you are going to, on that fold, on the inside, so right over top of your embroidery, you're going to measure down 14 inches. So if this were my, hi there, if this were my tote, from the, again, the top of the fold, not the inside, from the very top of the bag, you're going to measure down 14 inches and you're going to mark that. And that is going to be the point part of your pennant. So that's going to be measurement number 1. So 14 for that, and it will again be only 7.5, I'm sorry, 9, wrong one, 9 inches. So very big difference on what size you're going to finish off to be. So that's going to be the first piece. Again, that is right over the embroidery on that center line on the fold.
Yep.
That's going to be 14 inches down, and you want to actually mark that right on your, using a water soluble, whether it is the Kimberbell water soluble or something else. Water soluble is what they recommend. Whatever floats your boat, just mark it. It's going to be on the inside, so all will be good.
That's going to be the outside part of your pennant. So
That's going to be the point. We're going to do the outside next.
okay.
So once you have that point marked, you're going to open the bag and align the handle. So now we're going to hamburger fold it, and we're going to have both pieces underneath, and you're going to have that point that you just marked at the bottom. So your embroidery will be on the inside.
Yep.
And it's going to be basically like a tote bag, but inside out. So kind of like it would be if you were going to sew it together as a tote bag, but not like a tote bag.
Not like a tote bag.
All right. So we have that 14-inch mark down here. Now you're going to take, and from your handle, come out 2.5 inches, and then down 11. And that is going to be the outside of your pennant. And that's going to be on both sides. So you're going to repeat that on each side of the handles. So you'll end up with 2 lines 11 inches down and equally distant from the handles. So everything, again, should be centered. All right. And we're going to have that. Once you have those markings, you're going to take your ruler and connect the bottom of your 11-inch line and connect it to that center pennant point. And that's how you're going to get the actual point in the center markings, is by literally drawing it from ruler to ruler. There's no
Makes
measurement
sense.
there. It's just connecting it with your ruler. And you're going to do that again on both sides. So now you're going to have the pennant shape, and it's literally going to be pinned in place if you do that. Wonder clip it, whatever it is that you do.
Yes.
You want be put together like you would be sewing it together as a tote. So the unsewn side is going to be underneath your embroidered side. Your markings will be on the embroidered inside of the tote.
Yes.
All right. So that's what we have in here. And then we are going to stitch through both the tote layers right on the line that you drew. So you've got 11 inches down, and then you'll come down to that center point, back out, and then back up the 11 over here. You're going to literally stitch right on those lines, and then you'll trim a 1/4 inch away. So once you have your stitch line, you'll just use your 1/4 inch marking and trim a 1/4 inch from each of those, and then clip any corners that you have for turning. So that is missing a page. Where's the rest? That's not it. There's more. Anything over here? Got it.
There you go.
They got out of order.
So let's summarize what is going to happen here without using measurements. Essentially, when you're done with this, you're going to be working on the wrong side of
Wrong
your fabric.
side of the fabric.
So we're gonna fold it in half, skinny side, so it makes a long hot dog, and then we're gonna make our first mark following whichever direction it tells you. So
based on the size of your design.
And that mark is going to be the point
at
of
the
our
bottom.
pennant.
Yes. So that first one will be that bottom point that you're going to have. So this whole thing will be folded over on itself, and you're going to measure down, and that will be that point.
Mm-hmm.
So are we good with what we've got there?
I think so.
Our store sample's good enough.
Our store sample is good enough. Yep.
All right. So we're just going to,
Yep.
So first thing I need to do is get rid of everything I can from Stabilizer. I do have a water soluble here. So to completely get rid of it, I would need to, of course, rinse. But I'm just going to get rid of the bulk so that you guys can actually see what we're doing here. Of course, don't cut your tote. That's kind of a given, I suppose. But
then you'd have to put a creative patch in.
Yes, then there would be that 3D flower or whatever happens to be that you've come up with to fix the problem.
Yep. So if you're using, like she said, wash away, now's a good time to rinse it. And honestly, if you have wash away in there and there's any reason that your tote bag is going to get wet, you're going to put anything that's water in there, or you're ever going to wash it.
If you are hanging it outside, and it's going to get rained on.
You definitely want to make sure that you rinse that stuff, because that
gummy yuck.
It does. It's yucky if you don't get it all out the first time. So definitely, if you use the water soluble, take the time to do that first, because you can, if you're following our instructions, you can always pause it and go back.
Okay, so I'm going to go back a page just so that we talked about it. Now I'm going to do it. So long hot dog fold. I am going to take, and I haven't trimmed that yet, so just ignore that part.
Yes.
You can't see it. I'm going to cover it up anyways. All right, so I'm going to put my embroidery together. All right, and I'm going to hot dog fold that whole shebang.
She's matching her handles.
Matching my handles, and I am matching my side seams. But the handles are super important because that we all know how sometimes these blanks are kind of crazy. Exactly. Crazy is a good word. We're going to use crazy. I like crazy. All right. Once we have that, from the very top of the bag, we're going to come down. Thank God I got a 14-inch.
I was just about to say, is it big enough?
Holy crap. That was close. All right. So we're going to measure down 14, and I'm going to turn that. I think I can get a little bit farther away, but you're going to see a whole bunch of yuck too. Sorry. But you can see that a little bit better. So with the ruler, I'm going to come down 14 and on the fold. All right. So you don't want to mark over in the middle here. You do want to be on that fold, because that is going to be that point that
otherwise
you are connecting to. So your point isn't going to be a point. All right. So we're literally just marking that center point right there. Once we have that, we are going to open that up. And now we're going to hamburger fold that again. So this one, it's going to basically look like it would
If we were putting it together.
if we were going to do it like normal. So if you wanted this to be a regular tote bag, just do it like this and sew up the sides and you're ready to go. All right. So we're going to, again, match all of those beautiful handles up top. You can see maybe my blue dot down here.
Yep.
All right. And I am going to measure now 2.5 inches over. And now I want to go, because I did the large piece. Oof, that is not straight at all. So 2.5 inches over. So here's 1, 2.5. And I want to go and draw a line down that whole side. I don't even have a 1/4 inch over there. We're going to fudge ours because I don't have enough to work with. So I'm going to go 2 1/4 because that's all I have room for. So from the top. And I want to go down 11 inches. All right. So again, from the top, 2.5 over, 11 inches down. And I'm literally drawing that whole line. Okay. And then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So if, like me, you have to make some adjustment there, make sure you make the same adjustment on both sides.
Yes, centered is important.
Centered is good here, guys. All right. So I am going to find my 11 mark and we're going to go all the way up. Okay. So now I have
2 lines.
2 lines and I have a dot. So now I'm going to connect the dots in the lines. All right. So I just take my
This is
ruler
tough.
and lose my top. I connect. And I connect. So by doing those measurements, I'm going to have a balanced piece. All right. So now you can see the shape working out, right? Mm-hmm. So that is my stitch line, not a cut line. That is my stitch line. Once I have stitched, then I'm going to take and I'm going to trim a 1/4 inch away from my stitch line, all the way around. And then
you're going to turn it right side out.
You'll turn it right side out and poke out your corners in that whole shebang. Are you good?
You don't have a regular zipper foot out here, do you?
Probably not. There is a smaller one and there is the adjustable one. So we don't have there's the standard small one, but not the right left one that's in the machines.
Right.
Okay, so turning it right side out, once we have that stitched, you will have the pennant shape. Okay, press so that everything is nice and smooth. Remember, you do not want your iron hitting that glitter. So use a pressing cloth so that you're not hitting your iron. And I try actually not to hit my felt either directly. Yeah. You just never know. It gets
sometimes.
Weird.
Yeah.
So I do attempt to not hit my iron with my felt. So pressing cloth over there and make sure that you have nice firm edges everywhere there. And then you're going to top stitch across the top. So this can be with whatever color you want it to be to make it pretty. Mm-hmm. So we've got our handles coming out the top and we are top stitching that whole thing closed. So we're turning it through the top, just like it was a tote bag. We're turning it through the top of the bag.
Changing the shape.
We just have that bottom point there. So now we're going to seal the entire top of the bag closed.
Yes.
Okay. And then we're going to top stitch all the way around and extend that out. So again, whatever pretty you want to add in your top stitch, a triple stitch would be really pretty to give it a little extra.
I love my triple stitch.
I do too, especially when you're top stitching. And they are recommending a 90-14. So you are going to be going through some layers there. So definitely a great idea to do that. You're going to do the top and all the way around all of the sides. So you're going to smush that all together so that it doesn't billow out. Okay. Once you have that, you're going to cut the center of the handles. So pull them out so that you get the same area on both.
Mhm.
And you're going to cut the handle and then hem those 4 handles. You can then make small loops if that's what you need for
Wherever you're hanging.
what, depending upon where you're hanging it.
Mhm.
If
Put
you
Velcro.
could tie the pretty bows
Yep.
and have bows hanging, doesn't matter. You're going to have that whole length of those handles. Basically, you're going to have 2 on each side.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to tie a bow and hang, if you want to make a loop, you could clip them. It doesn't matter. It's whatever it is that you choose to do. You can
Yep.
make little loops.
Yeah, you could do Velcro on there. You could add buttonholes.
You
They
could
be
even,
adjustable.
if you really wanted to, you could remove them before you flip it and top stitch that together.
Yep.
And
Have just
you
a
could
small
put some ribbons inside there before you stitch it closed. Stib it. You know, top
Stab
stipping it. Top stipping it. But you could have ribbon loops that match with the colors or whatnot.
Absolutely.
So,
So many choices.
or you could make loops
Mhm.
out of the handles that you cut off and
That's right.
sew them in.
Yeah, you could put ribbon on your loops. I mean,
We could keep going. But the whole point is you choose
yes.
how you're going, and it's all going to be dependent upon how you're going to use it
Where
and
you're
how
gonna
you're
hang
going to hang it.
That's right.
So, if you have a garden flag hanger outside, you need the loops to get that to attach on. You need a sleeve of some
Yep.
sort. So you need loops. I wouldn't want to tie it if it were going outside because, weather, at least where I live, holy crow, that would be gone in no time
That would
flat.
be
The
bad.
wind would
Yes.
take it and run away with it. So that is the finishing for how that's going to happen. So very, very simple. It's just a matter of how you want to do that final finishing. So
Absolutely.
draw some lines, stitch on top of them,
Mhm.
trim,
Voila.
flip, and top stitch.
Yep.
And boom. So I think butterflies would be a really nice little
Mhm.
inside of
It
there.
should be 3D butterfly.
I was gonna say 3D ones, and I happen to have a whole lot of 3D butterflies options in my life. So that might have to be
This is
what I would do.
designed. She's confused. It is designed to be a wall hanging or a garden
pennant.
flag or a pennant. But you could certainly make it a bag or leave it as a bag. We used a Kimberbell bag template to make this.
Yep.
And
So
turned it into this.
if your desire is to have a spring tote,
Mhm.
this would be a super spring cute. I mean, super cute.
Yeah,
How
you can on the
colorful
back
and
of a jacket anywhere. So cute.
very, very cute. You could do drawstring bags. You could
Mhm.
put a drawstring in the
You
top
could.
of it, and
So
so
many
many different things that you could.
Yes.
Again, we could keep going, but
But
why?
We're not going to.
We're not going to. It's already getting late. So y'all have a great one. We will see you next time, which is Friday, and we're going to do tips and tricks and embellishments on the spring showers. Please join us. That will be at 10 a.m. We'll see you there. Bye.
Bye.